Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Just a quick test because as you guys coming in, you all seem to have the same name. Can I just request if you're able to, just to change your name to your name? That would be amazing because otherwise it looks like we've got four Matts on, unless it is four Matts. So you should be able to right click and change it to your own name. That would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Absolutely appreciate. But if I can just ask you guys to change in the settings to your actual name, that would be absolutely amazing. I'll give you a couple of minutes to figure that bit out. Let's go. And if you can hear me and see me, I would appreciate if you can just put in the chat bar, hello, or yes, or thumbs up, anything of that kind. That would indicate for me that you can hear me and see me. So I am not talking to a big black hole. That would be absolutely amazing. Thank you, guys. So 2 things from you. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up or put in the chat bar, yes. And also in the settings to change your name to your actual name. Just give you a couple of minutes to do that. So we can test everything out, make sure it starts fine. Guys, can you see the chat bar? If you can see the chat bar, can you just write something in there? Yes. Okay, cool. Yes, but can't change name. Oh, interesting. So are you all gonna have the same name? How amazing. Feel free to type in your actual name in the chat bar so then at least I know who I'm talking to. So your name and where are you dialing in from in New Zealand? That would be absolutely amazing. I had awesome Matt running this campaign for me and looks like all of you now going to be Matts. He cloned himself. Matt, if you're watching this, cheers to you. You've done something I wasn't able to do. I wish I can clone myself sometimes. Sonali, Wellington, hello. That's lovely. Rebecca, Capiti, well done. I can actually rename some of you, but then I wouldn't know which one's which. Okay. Now I'm going to rename you guys, and then you tell me if I got it right. And if not, you can tell me who became who. So Sonali, I've changed your name, I think. I don't know if that's you. And I'm going to rename this Matt into Rebecca. This is entertaining. This is awesome. Thank you guys for playing the game so far. I've got 2 more Matts to rename. Hopefully I got it right. Oh, Jack here in Upper Hutt. Hello. Well, you appearing as Rebecca. So you must be Jack. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change you to Jack. Jack Upper Hutt. Awesome. Fantastic. Teresa Lower Hutt. All right. I named you as Sonali, so I'm just going to change it to Teresa Lower Hutt. How's the weather there today, guys? All going well? Okay, so Rebecca changed to Jack, Sonali changed to Teresa. And let's see if I got this right. Sonali and Rebecca. I hope I got you two right. So now, all right. Let's see. Hopefully that all works. Really cold as always. Love it. Windy. Windy. Okay, so did I get all the names right this time? Hopefully, otherwise I feel like we're playing musical chairs. It's great. Now, before we begin, some of you have already told me where you're from, so that's amazing. Thank you so much. If I missed anyone, and if you're watching this as you're coming in, please feel free to pop your name in the chat bar and where you're from. That'd be very, very helpful. And while we're waiting for a few more people to join us, quick survey. Do you guys know me? Have you come across me before, or you're absolutely brand new to me and to my webinar? New, awesome. So we haven't met. That's awesome. I love meeting new people. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sophie. Cool. We will jump in shortly. And I also recommend grabbing a piece of paper and a pen so you can make some notes as I go along, because I am a real human and I cannot rewind myself as we do this together. So please get a piece of paper and a pen. That would be great. And we will start the webinar shortly. You can also share the link with your friends. If you want anyone else to join us, feel free to do that as well. I'll just put it in here. Cool. All right. So I'll just share my screen. And again, I will need you guys to let me know if you can see my screen or not. That would be amazing. Just 1 second. All right. Can you see my screen? Again, just put it in the chat bar if you can. Yes or no. Just in the chat bar, if you can put to see that you are seeing my screen, that'll be amazing. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Teresa. All righty, let's rock and roll. Give me a second. Okay. Fantastic. You all can see my screen. Ooh. Let's go. Just a second. Where is my button? There's my button. Okay. Right. So thank you all for joining me tonight. This webinar, as you know, has been titled Buy Your First Home, Get on the Ladder. So through the webinar, I will be asking you some questions. And if you can chat back with me, that would be absolutely amazing. So I would love to know, have all of you just started your journey? Or have you already got a house and you're just here for fun to see me? That'd be great. So in the chat bar, put in that you have you got a house? Yes or no? Starting your journey. Awesome, Jack. Thank you. Cool. Fantastic. All righty, let's go. So stay with me tonight if you want to buy your first home with low deposit. Learn what will give you a yes and know 3 simple rules of lending. I like to keep my webinars nice and sharp and sweet to the point. I know there are plenty of webinars out there that you sit through for an hour and you have no idea what's going on and you walk away absolutely confused. But not the case here. I will give you real life advice and let you know what you need to know to get yourself on that ladder. But before we start, obviously, the disclaimer is this presentation is for educational purposes only, and it should not be taken in any way as specific financial advice. So if you do need specific financial advice, I recommend come and see me, get in touch with me afterwards, and I can take you through your particular situation. But in this case, we are just talking general information. All right. So in the next 60 minutes, we are going to start your journey to your home ownership. But before we start, I want to take you through maybe similar case studies that you might find that you empathize with or relate to. Let me take you through a case of Danny and Josh. So this beautiful couple came to see me over a year ago now, and they were in the journey just like you are today, just right at the beginning. What concerned them was they had a very high debt position, meaning that they had various car loans, personal loans, credit cards, etc. They also had a very low deposit. So we're talking less than 20% is low deposit. And they were unsure whether they could even buy a house in the next 12 months to 2 years. When we sat down and we looked through the plan, I pinpointed for them their next steps. And lo and behold, within 9 months of meeting me and following my actual action plan, they were able to buy themselves their first home. So here's them buying a house in Kapiti. Very happy couple. And the next couple you might also relate to Namita and Amir. So their main concern was they were resident visa holders. So for a lot of clients that I help, they are not New Zealand citizens. I help a lot of resident clients as well. And these guys were really concerned because they just got their resident visa and they thought they needed to wait until they get their permanent resident visa, which is 2 years after the residence. So they only came to see me for a bit of advice how to prepare themselves in the next 2 years. But little did they know that you can actually buy a house on the resident visa. So if you didn't know, here we go, you know this now. And just like this, guys, you might be sitting there concerned that you're getting your resident visa. Do you have to wait for 2 years? The answer is probably no. So just like them, you could buy a home. They also had a bit of high debt and low deposit as well. So they didn't have 20%. And see that car in the back? They also had a car loan and things like that. So we managed to sit down, again, create a plan for them. Within 6 months, they were able to buy their home. And the last one I wanted to share, which was really, really recent, just last week, he's moved in. Jordan, single dad. So I deal a lot with single parents. And just yesterday, I had another single mama go unconditional. So if you know of any single parents, or if you are a single parent yourself, there is hope. All right. There is absolute hope out there. And just like Jordan, he came to see me. He was very confused. He didn't know what to do. And again, he didn't have much of a deposit. And he thought it's not going to be possible until he gets himself 20%. Because last year, he went and saw another mortgage broker, and that mortgage broker sent him away, told him, hey, come back when you have 20% deposit or when you find a new partner, because when there's two people, the application is always stronger. However, when I sat down with Jordan, I looked at his case and I said, look, there is a way we can make it work. And lucky for him, he actually found his dream home for him and his twin boys. And yeah, within 3 months, I met him in June. And just last week, he's moved in. So you can see June, July, August, actually within 2 months of creating an action plan, he was able to get into a home. So the reason I'm sharing the stories with you guys is to give you a bit of hope that whether you're single, whether you're a single parent, whether you're a couple or couple with children, this is absolutely possible. And whether you don't have 20% deposit or whether you have high debt, there is absolutely a way to get yourself on the ladder. So what do these guys know that you don't know? Let's delve into how I can make it work for them. And usually it's by following a well-organized approach, all right? This is how you can make your dreams of owning a home a reality. And normally what I take my clients through is a bit of an iceberg, right? I absolutely love this concept because when you look at this picture, when we look at the icebergs in real life, we see the tip of the iceberg, but we never really see what's down there. And this is the case for a lot of my clients because what they want is the result at the top. And this is what you're probably sitting there going, all right, I want to buy a home, right? This is your result, that the tip. But how do you actually get there? There are various steps to absolutely that you need to follow to get yourself there. And one of them is your behavior, that will then get into the results that you require. The other thing that you need to think of is the feelings that you have. And these feelings usually get affected by what you see in the media, but by, you talking to your friends or family and everyone is being negative or positive, this is all affecting what will be the end result. But the most important thing that I usually take my clients through is the belief. So the belief is, for me, when I see you, when I sit down with you, I always ask one question: what's your why? So when you find out what's your why, everything else happens. And the reason I have an onion here is it's peeling back the layers. What you think could be your why is actually not your actual why. And this is where you need to understand what's your why, what it will mean to you when you own your own home, what it will mean to your children, what it will mean to your, if you've got pets and you constantly have to move, what it will mean to you and your partner in your relationship. How's that going to work out for you? So when you understand your real why, this will be your compass. This is what will drive you to achieve what these guys have achieved in life. And apart from these people, there's hundreds of others that I've helped to get on the ladder. Right? This is not something that I do the first day or the first year. I've been doing this for years now, and I've developed this recipe of how things need to work out, how things need to go. So for those that haven't met me yet, obviously my name is Zibuni Salimova. I'm one of the New Zealand's top advisors, and my dream is to make sure that every New Zealander I come across, whether you're born in New Zealand or come to New Zealand, is for you to own your own home, because I think it's ridiculous living in a first world country and not to own your own property. So if you're on this journey and if you're not bored, follow me and let's look at things that you need to know. So without further ado, the steps. The three main things that you need to know. Deposit. That's the first question that we often ask you, is what's your deposit? All right. Then we're also interested to know what sort of income you're on, or what's your income source. And it could be different things. And we will cover that a bit later in the webinar. We also need to find out, what are your liabilities? And again, I will explain that to you a little bit later. But before we go any further, let's look into your deposit. So deposit works out from the purchase price. So we work it out a little bit backwards sometimes, or forward. Depends what you have. All right. So if you come to me and you've got 50K in your KiwiSaver, then we can work out what that 50K will get you. We'll also work out how much deposit do you need as your first deposit, if it is your first home, or it could also be your second chance first home. And again, this is something I will cover for you a bit later. We also talk about when all of this will be possible. So you and I sit down, we create a plan, and we go from there. And creating a plan is absolutely important, because that will give you a guiding star, right? You will understand what are your timelines. Like those guys that I've shown you before, they had a certain plan in their head. They wanted to be homeowners within 6 months or 12 months. So let me make sure that none of you have fallen asleep so far with me talking. Can you please put in the chat bar, what's your timeline? When do you want to buy a house? Is it within 6 months? Is it within 12 months? Is it within 2 years? Is it tomorrow? So please put in the chat bar for me, when do you want to buy? Awesome, starting now. By Christmas, I'll love it, Rebecca. 12 months, cool. 6 months to a year. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. I'm glad to see they're actually responding and you haven't fallen asleep. That's awesome. Great job. So this is what we do, all right? We sit down, we figure out what's your deposit, what's your deadline. Let's go forward from there. And this can also apply to anything else in life, all right? Not just to your home ownership, but you can actually do it with anything in life, getting a new job, getting married, having children, getting a pet, etc. Because what it does is, when you have a clear timeline in your head, it makes you enthusiastic and motivated to achieve a goal. So when I meet with clients and they ask, what's the low deposit? So how low is the low? What do you think is currently the lowest deposit you can get into the property ownership in New Zealand? What is the lowest deposit? How much deposit do you need, percentage-wise? So 20% is the most common one that people know, but what could be lower than 20% that will get you? So Nali, well done, 5%. 5% will definitely get you in. if you follow certain steps. Rebecca, thank you. 10. Awesome. So let's pretend that the house is 600K and 5% of 600K is 30K. So if you save 30K, we can get you into your home with that. And there are certain strategies to get yourself as the 5%. So there is a government program at the moment, which is Kayanga Ora. So that's still available for people if you qualify. So if you're earning 150K or less as a couple, or one person with children, you can qualify as 5%. Or if you have a bank account with a certain bank for 3 months, then you can also get in with 5%. So there is a main bank in New Zealand that's offering a 5% deal if you main bank with them. Unfortunately, I can't voice it out at my webinars, which bank is it? So get in touch with me and I'll let you know. But there is a way to make it work for you with 5% as well. And look, saving a lump sum of money can be possible, right? I know a lot of people say it's really hard. The cost of living is really high at the moment, but it is absolutely possible. So just put your mind to it. It can happen. And let's look at what sort of deposit types are out there that the banks will accept. So we've got normal savings. This is you saving day in, day out. We've got KiwiSavers for those that have been contributing for at least 3 years into KiwiSaver. You can take out everything but 1,000. So you got to leave $1,000 behind in your KiwiSaver. You can also get gift from family. All right. You can also get a loan towards your deposit. As long as your income services, it should be fine. There's also an option called gifted equity. And again, this is something that we often explore for people if they're buying off their family member or off their landlord, if they've been living there in a while. And there is a way to structure this correctly to make it work. You can also sell some assets, right? So you can also sell some stuff that you don't need to make it happen. Now, in terms of income, let's look at the second point that's very important for you to know. The things that we'll look at is, are you currently employed? Right? Normally, the banks prefer if you're permanently employed. However, there are other options as well. So you could be a contractor, you could be on benefit. I've got lots of single parents that are on benefit as well, and child support. So all of that is considered to be income as well. And there are other saving strategies that you can implement here. For instance, you can open a bank account in one bank and create automatic payment into that account. And make sure you don't set up internet access, because if you set up internet access, then you'll be dipping into that account. But if you don't have internet access to that account, then you can't touch it and you'll see your money grow. And make sure to pay yourself first. All right. Make sure that whatever you earn always goes to your account for that rainy day, for that home loan, home deposit, etc. So income-wise, you can also look at your budget of how else you can create pockets of money that you can put aside to start saving. You can also try to get rid of your high interest debt. So some of the strategies, as I've discussed with you in the beginning with some of my clients that we've done, is we sat down, we looked at their picture and we said, all right, you will be ready in 6 months' time if you do X, Y, Z. If you concentrate on this debt versus this debt, try to pay this down, etc., then we can get you in. Obviously, cost of living is rising in New Zealand and a lot of people are forced to get a second job. So if you've got extra talents, if you can turn your talents into various hobbies or selling things from home, that will also boost your income. So I call it a side hustle. You can also sell useless items, as I mentioned before. So one of the most important things, though, I find people that do well in life is they actually have a budget. So the budget will be your source of freedom. It shouldn't be the one that's restricting you. When we often say budget, we hear people getting, oh, I don't want to do the budget because it will constrain me. No, the budget should be a source of liberation. It should be the source of freedom, all right? The budget is your compass. So it will show you where you need to go to achieve what you need to achieve. So if you don't have a budget right now, my takeaway for you tonight will be to go away, and set up that budget. Because when you track your income and expenses, you will understand what's left at the end of the month, the week, the fortnight, etc., what you can put away to get yourself to that deposit that you need to buy yourself a home. Because remember, deposit is the starting point, then we'll look at your income. And then we also look at your liabilities. So just a quick survey again to make sure you guys haven't fallen asleep on me yet. In the chat bar, can you put down, have you got a budget or not? Yes or no? Just a quick response. Yes or no? That'll be amazing. So Sonali, tonight, your homework is tomorrow, is sit down, create a budget. And again, guys, if you're struggling with that, get in touch with me. I can help you with that as well. Jack, well done. You've got a budget. Awesome. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Cool bananas. All right. Let's keep going. So one of the things I always discuss with my clients is establish a discipline so you don't waste what you save, right? Because what happens is you work hard, you create your budget, you save your money, and then you go and blow it. So try to not blow your money. That would be absolutely amazing, because as humans, our nature is usually to spend money that we have access to. And through my banking career, and then through my career as a mortgage advisor, I've noticed the more people earn, the more they spend. And sometimes I was blown away with the single parents that come to see me, and they have this amazing Excels, and they actually save way more money by the end of the month than people on high income salaries. That's absolutely amazing. So the decisions you make today and moving forward are the steps to achieving the results tomorrow. So remember when we talked about the iceberg? I'll just remind you. So the result you want at the top there, it will be led by your behavior. It will be led by your feelings, but most importantly, the beliefs. So you got to layer it. Absolutely layer it. I hope the picture of the iceberg now makes a little bit more sense to you and why I've used it in this webinar. So we talked about selling stuff that you don't need. If you look around your house, I'm sure you will find something that's been sitting there for ages. Either someone has given you as a present, or you bought it a while back when you liked it and now you don't use it. So look around. And that's what some of those of my clients have done. The ones I've shown you in the beginning is they went out and sold stuff they don't need. They had things in their garages that they didn't need. Or for instance, a very expensive car that you racked up on high credit. If you don't need to use such an expensive car, sell the car, repay your loan, buy something cheaper. So there are other ways to get ahead without tripping yourself up, if that makes sense. So now let's talk about the liabilities. All right. The liabilities in the banking world is debts. So this is your student loan. This is your children. This is your cars. This is your credit cards, personal loans, etc. So you need to understand what sort of debts you've got, what's your debt position, and how to get rid of that. So as I just mentioned to you before, to get rid of debt, make a strong decision to stop spending money you don't have. Like literally, it's just as simple as that. Don't spend what you don't have. Try to go back to basics. Only spend what you have. We live in a world where there's so much temptation. There is Afterpays, Zips, you name it, lay-bys, facilities, and they're tripping people up. So try not to get down that tunnel, all right? Credit cards, a lot of people don't realize, but you're actually paying over 20% on interest on your credit cards. And by making minimum repayments on your credit card, you're actually not getting ahead at all. Like seriously, zero. And what you do is you just rotate the same amount of money and getting charged interest month after month after month. So if you can get rid of the credit cards, pay it down, get rid of it, shut it down, that'll be amazing. So here is me coming out as a bad cop and telling you off right now. So if you've got that, make sure you get rid of this. Now, the other thing we often talk about with my clients is mortgages and repayments. Once I understand what's your deposit position, what's your income, what sort of liabilities you have, we'll look at the mortgage amount. How much do you qualify for? what your repayments will be, the frequency of your repayments. So we sit down and we do all those calculators together to make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into. Just because you might be approved for 500K mortgage, it doesn't mean you need to spend that much. Because when you look at the repayments may be way too high for you, or living comfortably. And again, this is where the budget comes in. This is why I bring the budget conversation into the topic quite early enough to make sure that when you budget for the things in the future, you know how to do this. Because when you buy a house, it's not just the mortgage repayments you've got to think about. You also have rates and insurances. You also need to put money aside for things like, repairs and maintenance. It may not happen every year. It may not happen every month, but you need to make sure you've got a bit of a buffer sitting there helping you to get ahead. Because borrowing money back from the bank, especially when you're on a low deposit, especially when you don't have enough equity, may not be possible. So hopefully that makes sense. And again, this is something I teach my clients of, we go through calculator and I show you how to make things work. And remember, not all banks are made the same. So different banks use different calculations and different servicing. So understanding which lender is the best for your case is often the right letter to take. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. And as I said to you in the beginning, the process of home buying is not a simple one. You need someone by your side, right? And this is where I come in. I educate my clients. I help them by understanding their current position, where they want to be, and map out the steps to get there. So as we come to the end of the webinar, I hope you're feeling a little bit more positive about understanding how to create a timeline and the deadlines, calculating the deposit you may need for the houses that you're looking to buy, knowing that no lender is the same and that all lenders can be different, and that you need to have a budget and a forecast. That'll be absolutely amazing. So often we sit down with clients and they go, is it the right time to buy? The number one question is usually, should I buy now or should I wait, right? And my question back to them is, what is the true cost of not getting on the ladder? Because if you don't get on the ladder right now, what is the true cost? And let's imagine if the property prices go up by 5%, if the house today is 600K, in 12 months' time, it's going to cost you 30K more. So you don't want to find yourself in that position. And to be honest, we are heading in that direction right now, where the interest rates are finally going down. The interest rates are going down. The OCR got cut today. So you will see shortly the house prices will start recovering. So right now is the best time to buy. If you don't buy now, in 6 to 12 months, you will see that the property prices are rising back. And often people come to me and they go, well, why should I come to you? Or should I go to the bank direct? And look, I worked in the bank. I know how banks work, right? I've spent over 6 years in the bank, in the industry from the inside out. At the bank, we only have one choice, one product. As a mortgage advisor, now I've actually spent as much time as a mortgage advisor and a franchise owner. And I know that I have way more products now. There is way more color out there being a mortgage advisor versus when I was a banker. Now, for the last few years, I've always strived to be at the top, not just because I like being at the top, but also because it shows that my knowledge gets people ahead, right? If I don't know what I'm doing, how can I help people? And often I say to my clients, look, I walk the talk, right? I've got my investment portfolio, I've got my commercial properties as well. So I know what's out there. I know what's happening in the real world. Often you go to the bank and some of those bankers don't even own a property yet. So how can they advise you on what you should be doing if they don't even do it themselves? So my point of difference often is I live and breathe properties. I know what I'm doing and I've helped over 600 clients. So if you want to be next, come and see me. And look, don't just take my word for it. You're welcome to Google me if you haven't done so before the webinar. As of today, I'm sitting on 129 Google reviews. And yeah, there's, plenty of people that have used me for their first home. So feel free to snoop through that. Now, the home loans is not the only product I have. I often encompass everything as a one-stop shop. So with my clients, I help them to get mortgages, insurances, and also personal loans. So if you're looking to consolidate some of that debt, again, this is where the mapping comes. We sit down, we do an action plan for you. Now, for those that are watching this from your computer, you are welcome to scan the QR codes. So WhatsApp is a good way to get hold of me. I can message you back, we can interact, we can send voicemails to each other, etc. I also set up that Home Loan Hub on Facebook, so feel free to connect to that as well. That would be really good. And that way we can stay in touch. You can see the updates and be on top of all the updated information as we go. So as we're coming to a close, I will open up the floor for some questioning. But also, before we open the questioning time, I also wanted to share something with you. I've created a guide that takes you step by step for my first-time buyers. So if you want to get that guide, please get in touch with me and I will email it to you. It's a very interactive one. You can open up from your devices, so from your phone or from your computer. It's got everything in it. All your questions answered if you were a first-home buyer. It's got really cool checklists as well that you can take with you to open homes. It's got pre-settlement checklists, etc. It breaks down all the steps that you need to know, how to put an offer, what happens after you've put an offer. So basically A to Z, it's all covered in there. So get in touch with me if you want that guide and I will send it to you. So question time. You are welcome to put your questions in a chat bar and I will get to you. Ask me anything. I hope we zoomed through this and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you haven't fallen asleep yet. Oh, any questions? I'll just stop sharing my screen. Cool, so I can see the chat bar. Oh, Jack, awesome. Cool. I've just realized that you only messaged me, not the whole group. So that's cool. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. I hope this was somewhat educational for you. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Appreciate that. No questions means I've covered everything so well that people don't have any questions. I love that. And look, guys, I did share my details. You do have my details on file. So if you do have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me. And as I said, I do have that guide as well, that if you want it, please get in touch with me. Thank you, Rebecca. Really appreciate you coming as well. That's awesome. Thank you, Sophie. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, guys. If there are no more questions to cover tonight, I am grateful that you all joined me tonight. I hope you've learned something new today that you haven't learned before. And feel free to get in touch with me should you want to buy your first home and need to understand your next steps, or if you've got any friends that need the same advice and service. They'll be